The supermarket was alive with chatter, the squeak of carts rolling over tiled floors, and the faint hum of background music. People moved through aisles, some hurried, others lingering over discounts and deals. But amidst the ordinary rhythm of everyday life, a quiet moment was unfolding, one that would change two lives forever. Near the dairy aisle, a young mother stood frozen in place, her trembling hands clutching a container of baby milk formula. Her eyes darted to the price tag, and her lips parted as if she were whispering a silent prayer. Her child, barely a year old, sat in the cart seat, his wide, innocent eyes fixed on her, too young to understand the storm brewing in his mother's heart. She pressed her lips together, looked at her son, and then, with a deep, pained sigh, she placed the milk back on the shelf. Her shoulders slumped as if the weight of the entire world was pressing down on her fragile frame. What she didn't know was that someone was watching. A man dressed in a perfectly tailored suit, his silver watch glinting beneath the supermarket's harsh lights, paused mid-step. To everyone else, he looked like an ordinary customer, albeit one with money to spare. But his eyes softened as they followed the mother's every move. He wasn't just watching, he was remembering. And in that moment, fate stitched two very different lives together. Before I continue, if you believe kindness can change the world, please take a moment to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Kindness Universe for more true, emotional stories that will touch your heart. The young mother's name was Emma. Life hadn't always been this hard. Just a few years ago, she was a college graduate with big dreams of becoming a teacher. But dreams don't pay bills, and when her partner left her before their son was born, everything spiraled downward. She worked double shifts at a diner, scraped together pennies for rent, and often skipped meals so her little boy could eat. To the world, she was invisible, a tired single mom trying to survive. But inside, she carried both pain and strength that few could see. That day, Emma's grocery cart carried only the bare minimum: a loaf of bread, a small carton of eggs, and a few discounted vegetables. Nothing extra, nothing indulgent, just survival. And even then, it was too much for her dwindling bank account. The man who noticed her was James Whitmore, a self-made millionaire. He had built his fortune in real estate, living in penthouses, driving cars most people only saw in magazines. To everyone around him, James embodied success. But beneath the expensive suits and confident stride was a loneliness he never admitted. His wealth could buy him anything, except the one thing he craved most: human connection. As James watched Emma quietly place the milk back, something stirred deep within him. He remembered nights from his own childhood, when his single mother struggled to put food on the table. He remembered the sting of hunger, the shame of wearing clothes too small, and the silent tears his mother shed when she thought no one was watching. James had sworn to himself that one day he'd escape that life, and he did. But seeing Emma reminded him of a promise he had long forgotten, that he'd never turn his back on those who were still fighting the battles he once fought. So, instead of walking past like everyone else, James followed. Emma pushed her cart toward the checkout line, her movements slow, hesitant, almost rehearsed. She picked up an item, checked the price, and put it back before reaching the conveyor belt. Her son giggled at the sound of the scanner beeping, completely unaware of the anxiety tightening his mother's chest with every item she placed down. James stood a few steps behind her, watching as she handed the cashier a crumpled handful of bills. He could see her lips moving as she mentally calculated, praying she had enough. But when the cashier read the total, Emma froze. She didn't have enough. Her face flushed crimson, her hands fumbled, and after a moment of painful silence, she whispered, "Please, could you put back the eggs?" The cashier nodded mechanically, as if this were nothing new. But to Emma, each returned item felt like a piece of her dignity being stripped away. She forced a smile for her son, hiding the storm raging inside her heart. That was when James stepped forward. "Excuse me," he said, his voice calm yet firm. "Keep the eggs, and the rest. Put the milk formula back in too." Emma turned, her wide eyes meeting his. For a moment she didn't understand. Strangers didn't usually intervene, especially not men like him. "You don't have to," she began, but James cut her off with a gentle smile. "I know, but I want to." He handed his credit card to the cashier, covering not just Emma's groceries, but also slipping in a quiet request to add a gift card to the total. Emma's throat tightened, tears threatening to spill as she tried to form words of gratitude. Why are you doing this?" she whispered, her voice trembling. James hesitated for a moment, his jaw tightening as he swallowed old memories, because once someone did it for me, and I never forgot. The cashier packed the groceries, including the milk formula Emma had thought she couldn't afford. James picked up the bags and carried them outside before Emma could protest. The cool evening air wrapped around them as they reached the parking lot. Emma's old car sat in the far corner, its paint chipped, one headlight cracked. She strapped her son into the back seat while James set the groceries down gently. "You didn't have to follow me," she said softly, almost embarrassed. "I did," James replied, his voice low but steady. "Because sometimes people need to be reminded that they're not alone. You've been carrying too much by yourself." Emma blinked, her vision blurring with tears she had held back for too long. No one had said words like that to her in years. Most people saw only her struggles, never her strength. But this stranger, this millionaire, saw her. For James, it wasn't just about buying groceries. It was about giving back the hope his own mother once clung to. He remembered how a kind neighbor once paid their rent when they were on the verge of being homeless. That one act of kindness had fueled his determination to rise above poverty. And now, standing before Emma, he realized it was his turn to pass it on. The night didn't end there. James quietly slipped Emma his business card, telling her that if she ever needed help to reach out. Not out of pity, but because he believed in her resilience. And for the first time in years, Emma felt like someone was in her corner. If this story has touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Kindness Universe. Share this video to spread the message that even the smallest act of kindness can change a life. Weeks later, Emma found herself back at the same supermarket, but this time with a smile that felt lighter. She had reached out to James, who helped her find a part-time teaching job at a community center he funded. It wasn't charity, it was opportunity. And as Emma tucked her son into bed one night, she whispered a silent promise to him that no matter how hard life got, they would always push forward. Because kindness had found them when they least expected it. James, watching from afar, knew that the circle was complete. The little boy would never know hunger the way he once did, and Emma would never again face her struggles entirely alone. Sometimes, the greatest wealth isn't measured in dollars, but in the lives we touch, the burdens we lift, and the hope we restore. And that night, both Emma and James realized that kindness, no matter how small, can echo for generations.